So this question says, calculate the standard cell potential for the following electrochemical cell. So we have Cu2 plus forming Cu, and we have Fe forming Fe2 plus. So in order to find E cell, we're going to have to use the table. But the standard E cell is equal to the reduction minus the oxidation. So we need to figure out what's being reduced and what's being oxidized in order to answer this question. And in previous questions, we talked about identifying what's oxidized and what's reduced. And here we have a relatively simple electrochemical cell because we don't have any counterions or oxygens or any of this kind of stuff. So it's pretty obvious what the oxidation states of the things are because they're given or they're zero. So in this case, copper is going from 2 plus to 0, and iron is going from 0 to 2 plus. So remember your mnemonic that we talked about before. Leo the lion says grr. Okay, and that means losing electrons is oxidation and gaining electrons is reduction. So in this case, we have copper going from 2 plus to 0. So is that a gain of electrons or a loss of electrons? That's gaining electrons, so this is reduction. And you can also remember the mnemonic for the electrodes, which is red cat and ox. So reduction is occurring at the cathode. And this, of course, must be oxidation, because if one thing is being reduced, the other thing has to be oxidized when you only have two things. And it certainly is, right? Because this went from 0 to 2 plus, so it lost electrons, and this is oxidation. And oxidation occurs at the anode. Now, do you need to know these to answer these questions? No, but it is in the next question, so it is useful. All right, so now we know what's being reduced and what's being oxidized. So now we need the table, and I took this table right out of the OpenStax book. So we need to find the different things on the table. So the first thing we need is the reduction, which is the Cu2 plus going to Cu. So if we look, Cu 2 plus 2 electrons yield Cu is 0.337 volts. So the E cell is going to be equal to 0.337 volts minus, now what's being oxidized is iron going to iron 2 plus, so we got to find that on here. So in this case we have iron 2 plus 2 electrons yields iron, so it's minus 447. Note that we're doing the opposite of this, so it's minus 0.447 volts. All right, so this minus sign takes into account the fact that we're doing the opposite, so don't switch the sign twice. This minus sign switches the sign for you. So we get like this, and when we do that math, we find that the E cell in this example is 0.784, oops, there should be a 4 in there, volts. Okay, so that's how we can solve this problem.